The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Most of you will remember that age-old poetry in which lies the story of the Lamb and Little Mary. Remember that age-old poetry in which lies the story of the Lamb and Little Mary, and how frequently, as a rule, the Lamb and Little Mary were the attraction at school. So I will prove to you that the age-old poetry is really and true. 'Cause Little Mary had no lamb, she had no lamb, she had no lamb. Little Mary had no lamb, and his knees wasn't white as snow. So don't mind what you read about the Lamb and Little Mary in your school books. It's real and story. Don't mind what you read about the Lamb and Little Mary in your school books. It's real and story. It was revealed quite recently by one who have studied the question.
Good yawning this morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Thursday, the 17th of March, 2022, and you are on the clock with Erin Greene. On the clock, we engage organizations, institutions, social and cultural leaders, and ordinary people to better understand the impact of public policy, private sector development, and emerging social and consumer trends. On the clock, we have conversations that help us understand and navigate a rapidly changing Bahamas. Well, good morning, everyone. Today is another Culture Thursday, and I have a guest joining me today for what I think is a great show. I'm a bit excited about it, and I hope you guys are excited too. My guest today is one Mr. Johnny Cake, Bahamian rake and scrape artist extraordinaire. And he is releasing a song. He's letting us listen to his new single. I'm not going to call the name of it yet. And Mr. Johnny Cake is going to be joining us, I think, this morning via the Zoom room. So last week, I indicated that I wanted to do a small feature during March, Women's Month, Women's History Month, the month that houses International Women's Day. I wanted to do a small feature on Maureen Duvalier. I am fascinated by her career, by her music, and even more fascinated by what appears to be our lack of attention. Almost like we are unaware that we have this diva, this world legend, this superstar in our midst. So today, I want to have a conversation with Mr. Johnny Cake about Maureen Duvalier, a bit about her impact on the country, but then I want to have another conversation as well. It's an adult conversation. It is not a conversation for the children. Producer, my guest is trying to get back into the Zoom room. You stay tuned. The producer will let you know when you can join again. So like I was saying, my guest today is Johnny Cake. He's going to let us listen to his new single, and we're going to have a conversation about us. Our musicians make music about us, telling our stories, the good, the bad, and well, the ugly too. Like I said, I plan to highlight Bahamian diva and legend Maureen Duvalier. I wonder why she's not celebrated the same way Ronnie Butler and Blind Blake are, but then again, maybe she is. I wonder if it was because a lot of her work was what you would call risque. But I don't know if that's it, because I think we've always been a sexually charged society and people. And at this point, I would say we're an over-sexualized or hypersexualized society. Remember, I said this is not really necessarily a conversation for the kiddos. I think, they could hear it, but you may not be prepared to help them understand it. So I'd say we're an over-sexualized or a hypersexualized society, and that in and of itself isn't a problem. So I think it's the hypocrisy that we hide, ignore, brush under the rug, and pretend like we are something different, like we are pious and chaste and pure. I think it is the hypocrisy, the illusion, the cognitive dissonance even, that is the problem. We know children are exposed to sex and sexually explicit content all the time. By us, by parents, guardians many times. But we refuse to talk to them, the children, about it. We know that children and young adults are sex and yet refuse to engage them and give them the tools they need to avoid early sexual activity. We know they are susceptible to molestation and abuse, but refuse to even acknowledge it and how to protect themselves. So today, we're listening to some risque Bahamian music, goombay, rake and scrape, calypso, and even some junkanoo fusion with Bahamian artist Johnny Cake. And we're asking, who is the king or queen of the double ultra of risque music in the Bahamas? And we're going to start with Mr. Johnny Cake himself. Good morning, Mr. Johnny Cake.
Erin, and good morning, Bahamas. What's poppin'?
Everything is good. Everything is good. So look here. We're gonna listen to this new song of yours. Conversation. I'm gonna invite a listening audience to call and text in to ask questions, their thoughts with us. And before we even get into all of that, about Miss Maureen Duvalier, one of, as far as I'm concerned, greatest Bahamian musicians and performers of all time. Producer, before we Miss Maureen Duvalier, I want you to play the monkey song next, but Johnny Cake, I give you this opportunity. Related to Miss Maureen Duvalier?
My family, generations and last names, Duvalier is a part of it.
Okay.
I sat down and listened and heard that name. I was like, wait, Duvalier, that's my family. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I am related to Duvalier. So I'm almost 99.9% sure there is some relation.
You're saying there's a link to Andres?
Yes, there is.
Look here. Everything growing in Andres, chocolate, vanilla, blue hole, talent, just growing there. So producer, play the monkey song by Maureen Duvalier for me.
Now morning, I woke up late. Mr. Monkey was standing outside me gate. I went outside to investigate. That's why this sad tale I now relate. I don't know what to say, the monkey won't do. I don't know what to say, the monkey won't do. I when I walk inside, monkey walk in too. I when I sit down, monkey sit. Now I took a walk down Trafalgar Square, expecting to lose Mr. Monkey there. But when I talked round Piccadilly, monkey was head and head on with me. I don't know what to say, the monkey won't do. I don't know what to say, the monkey won't do. I don't know what to say, the monkey won't do.
That is the monkey song performed by Maureen Duvalier, who is popularly or more common as Calypso Mama or Bahama Mama. And so I'm going to read a bit of a bio information that I pulled from online about life. And she is just one amazing woman. But I will say this, that the information is sparse. There's not a lot of information out there. It's not like we don't have an archive, right? We don't have one singular place you could go for the biographies, Bahamian musicians, performers, and legends. So Maureen Duvalier was born in Burial Ground, Nassau. She was a singer, performer, and actress. She was in a movie. When you search her IMDb, that's the international movie database listing, she is listed and is known internationally for her performance in a movie called Island Women from 1958. And it's a semi-steamy story set in Nassau. And it finds Mike. What a soap opera in paradise. We've been selling tourism for a long, long time. But anyway, these guys in the movie, they hang around, they enjoy Nassau town, and they listen to artists like Leslie Scott, Kay Barnes, Maureen Duvalier, and other calypso performers sing Coconut Water, Rum and Gin, Want to Do Nothing All Day, and Island Women, and watch the limbo being danced. I just want to know, doing this research is the first time I ever heard about that movie. Johnny Cake, you ever heard about that movie?
No, actually, no. I've never, ever.
Look here, I was stunned when I heard that. Anyway, Miss Duvalier, known as Bahama Mama and Calypso Mama, died December 19th, 2014, aged 88. She began her work as an entertainer with Freddie Munning Sr. at the Silver Slipper nightclub, and other stints followed at the Montague Hotel, the Adastra Gardens, the Spiderweb nightclub, and the British Colonial Hotel Lounge. Her repertoire was native, folk, and calypso. Producer, play that track at the top of the list, Silver Slipper nightclub. You guys, listen to this. Johnny Cake, we're going to listen to this. We're going to go to a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to play a couple more tracks, and then we're going to listen to your song.
I'm standing here in the Central Super Center.
We had a bit of a problem with that. Hopefully, we'll bring it back up. But that was just a small video I found online, I think, narrated by Raphael Munnings, and talks about the Silver Slipper nightclub. There we go.
I'm standing here in the Central Super Center. This takes me back 60 years because this was originally the site of the Silver Slipper nightclub. Back in the 50s, my father, Freddie Munning Sr., was the most popular entertainer in the entire Bahamas. And the music that I heard at the time was 17-piece band that actually performed in the club every night. So that is what inspired me to do music. And the international people would come, and of course, Louis Armstrong. People like Martin Luther King actually stayed on Lewis Street, which is right across the street from this center. I would like to introduce my son. So this is 3 generations of Munnings. It is amazing that a piece of the original Silver Slipper wall is still standing. This place was the place that all Bahamians recognized and attended.
So look here, if you all get a chance, you got to go. Well, given the tensions and conflicts in the area as of late, I would say moderate your behavior, but make it a plan in your life. You got to go down to East Street, just over the hill, and put your hand on that wall that still remains of the Silver Slipper nightclub, and tell me if you could still hear the music jamming in your ears when you touch it. There's such a vibrant history, and that is the space that Miss Maureen Duvalier's career began. She got into entertainment professionally as a vocalist at 17. And like most of her contemporaries who made it in the entertainment business, she started with the world-famous Freddie Munnings Orchestra at the Silver Slippers. Inspired by a Betty Gables musical she saw at the Palace Theater, later named the Cinema, she and Freddie introduced Floor Show to the Silver Slippers. Maureen Duvalier recalls, "I sang everything at first, but I fell in love with Ella Fitzgerald and her rendition of I Put the Peas in the Pot to Cook. I never really knew who wrote the song, but I copied it. We rehearsed it and I sang it. And Freddie said songs like that were my stuff." And that's what made Maureen the Bahamian diva, the native, authentic music in her signature screechy delivery. "I worked a stage," she says with a grin. "I danced. I performed. At age 80, I can't do 200% like I used to, but I try very, very hard because I feel I feel if people come and pay their hard-earned money, they come to feel good, to go away feeling good, close quotes. And I take that little excerpt from a Nassau Guardian article from June 13th, 2006, written by Norman Roll. And the article is entitled Bahamian Diva, Maureen Duvalier at 80. Johnny Cake, I can read a couple texts. Somebody here has already given, or they already know what your new song is, but I ain't gonna tell the people yet. Another text, great show as usual. She was not or is not celebrated like the rest of our musicians here because of her last name, Miss Greene. I only know how to tell the truth. That's what the text say. Great show as usual. I'm a Duvalier, and I've actually never, ever, ever in my 44 years of living met another Duvalier in my life. Wow, Texter, well, we got to change that because Duvalier is a Bahamian name now. Another text, Erin, how is it that those nightclubs have not been reopened? This is the thing that we have to talk about. This is the thing that we have to talk about. How are we reimagining and re-envisioning the tourism industry? And is it that we no longer have those dynamics in place? That maybe it is that the Bahamian back then was freer. Even given the political dynamic, they were freer then than they are now. Good morning, Miss Greene. I love your show. I would like to give a shout out to my good cousin Johnny K, coming from his biggest fan in Eleuthera. Can you ask him if he remembers us sitting on the porch, listening to artists like Calypso Mama, Blind Blake, and other Calypso artists for a whole day? Johnny Cake, you remember that?
It's funny because but the minute I hear that, it actually took me back. And you know what's funny? I honestly, at that point in time, didn't know who I really was listening to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I knew the music. I loved the music, but I did not know the deep history behind that. That's crazy. What's going on, cuz?
There you go. I used to go to summer camp in Eleuthera every year, and a big part of like our evenings, especially as an older camper and counselor, was a little radio, and we'd play music, and kids would sing along, popular songs, not risque songs, not adult songs, but things that we could listen to. And it's something about being on the island, away from the center, the bustle of the center, and the technology that causes you to entertain yourselves differently. And I think we're missing some of that family island culture in Nassau. And I wonder if the artists can recreate the environments that some of our best music was created in. Still there?
Yeah, man. I would think you would have to go. Honestly, there's something about the air. There's something about the breeze. There's something about the vibe. When you head to a family island, you just feel that energy. And I don't know, maybe it's because this is the city, it's hustling and bustling, you worry about bills, gas price going up, this and that. But when you hit that island life and you just sit down on the porch and you could just throw your foot up, like you could hear the music in the breeze, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then I'm saying that at the same time, when Maureen Duvalier joined the Silver Slipper and started working with Freddie Munnings, like she said, she met a whole full orchestra there. Right? These guys were not like on the island and having to make do with what was in front of them. These were trained, well, whether self-trained or professionally trained, these were trained musicians on standard professional instruments. 17-piece band. Have you ever seen a composition, an orchestration as large as that today or in recent time?
Recently, no. Recently, I be with the 3 and 4-piece band, maybe 5-piece if the band's all it.
Absolutely. I think that's a great project we should work on, man, because it made me think of Fela Kuti, and not just the large. It is an orchestra of instruments and bodies, not just the instruments, right, but the dancers and the performers that brought together the whole product, not just the sound, but the feeling that you had when Fela Kuti performed. And I imagine it was the same experience back in the 50s, the 60s, with Freddie Munnings, Mama Calypso Mama, and all of these artists. Producer and Johnny Cake, we're going to play a song, go to a break, and when we come back from the break, we're going to get into your song, and we're going to continue this conversation. And I got a bunch of questions for us. Some of them are hard questions, and one of them is, where is the line between the role model, the musician, and the provocateur? What does our music say about us, and what is it teaching our children? And these are some of the questions we're going to get to when we get back from the break. Producer, I'm going to let you choose. Play Don't Touch Me Tomato or Muriel's Treasure. You decide which one. You all forgive me, I put my producer on the spot.
Oh, you got him. You got him.
He's up for it, though.
Say, please, mister, don't touch the tomato. Please, mister, don't squeeze the tomato. Or you touch me yam and me pumpkin and potato. Goodness sake, don't touch my tomato. All you do is to feel them. Man, ain't you tired to squeeze them? All you do is to feel them. Man, ain't you tired to feel them? Touch me this and you touch me that. Touch me everything I've got. Feel me plums and me apples too. But here's one thing you know can do. So please, mister, don't touch the tomato.
We believe in relationship banking. We take pride in getting to know our clients. You have access to knowledgeable, approachable ambassadors and financial coaches so that we can recommend the best product for you. At Fidelity, we care about you. From your financial health to your physical health, we can relate to you because we're just like you. Come and start your relationship banking experience with us today. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Visit any of our branches in Nassau or Grand Bahama, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau, or 352-6676 for Freeport.
J.S. Johnson Insurance agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protecting since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has stood the test. You'll always cover me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
One thing there is no debate about is that BTC has the best rates. Now, the best rates just got better because you pay half the price of the other guys with your BTC home internet and mobile services combined. Switching to BTC is a no-brainer because I pay less with BTC and get super fast internet with speeds up to 600 megs. The other guys, their internet only go up to 105 megs.
Get all the internet you want at half the price when you bundle your home internet and mobile. Visit a BTC store to make the switch today. Conditions apply.
Like what you're hearing on the show? Want to support the conversation? Sponsor On the Clock today. Call Janet Lees at 302-2304. That's 302-2304. Be the solution. Sponsor On the Clock with Erin Greene, where she dissects, we discuss, and you decide.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Now me mommy bought a rooster. She took it for a hen. Thought it would lay eggs about 9 or 10. So she made up a nest of some straws and some grass. But it didn't lay nothing but it's yes, yes, yes. She bought another rooster.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. You are on the clock with Erin Greene on this Culture Thursday with my guest, Mr. Johnny Cake. Good morning, Mr. Johnny Cake.
Good morning to everybody tuned in.
But look here, you heard that song just now called Yes, 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 right?
I know that one.
That's submission number 1 for the queen of the double entendre, right? You got, and on the list, you got people like Ronnie Butler, can't leave him off the list. The mighty KB, king of the double, you think he's the king of the double entendre. You can't leave him off the list. You even got Bagon and a guy like Johnny Cake, right? You even got a guy like Johnny Cake on the list. And you even have a woman like Therese, who does make this type of music. But I'm going to call Maureen Duvalier the baddest, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Just the last thing about her bio before we go. So I found these 2 great articles, one written by Monique Forbes, also for the Nassau Guardian, this one in 2004. But listen to this. In 1958, a group of 25 females, women and children, along with a group of men, stood on George Street near Bay Street, just in front of Christ Church Cathedral. It was well past the midnight hour, but everyone was wide awake, an aura of excitement buzzing all around them. Some paced the area, trying to shake off the nervous feeling, anticipating the beginning of what was to take place. Others said a silent prayer in hopes that everything would go as planned. One by one, they donned their costumes and fell into line, waiting for the final word to march forward. And then it came. The sounds of bugles, foghorns, and conch shells blared, echoing sweetly, along with the thundering boom of goatskin drums, breaking the stillness of the night, signaling an historic moment when, for the first time ever, a group of women would participate in the Christmas holiday Junkanoo parades. Forward onto Bay Street, they marched in a gyrating manner known as rushing, their identities shielded by masks. These were not just any dancers. They were church women, school children, teachers, housewives, women throughout the local community who had band together under the leadership of Miss Duvalier. Yes, notable persons like former Senator, the Honorable Talata Strawn, and the late Becky Chipman were among those behind the kaleidoscope of masks. Quote, everyone was standing up looking at these women in their costumes. The costumes were red and black. It was black outside, lined with red. When they spun, you saw red, and when they came back down, it was black, said an excited Miss Duvalier, reliving the moment during an interview. A group were standing by Artie Nottage Dry Goods Store. It was the second store going east between George and Market Streets. And by the time we got there, the people were coming to meet us, she continued, her eyes lighting up, a big warm smile complimenting them. The group led by Miss Duvalier would go on to win first place trophy. They took Bay Street by storm. There was no question who won first, second, and third, chimed a close source. I was the first woman. There was no other. I don't mind who comes behind and say they are Queen of Junkanoo. I am the first female to take women to Bay Street, says Miss Duvalier, exuding a sense of pride. Bang. The first woman to take woman Pond Bay. What a time. What a time. Anyway, I had to put that in there, Johnny Cake, because Andres is, this place is just born strong people and strong women in particular. And I, as a member of Spirit, the greatest Junkanoo scrap group in the history of white people, the world, and Junkanoo, I would just like to say I'm honored to march, to rush, to paste, to perform in her footsteps. Good morning. That's a history, eh, Johnny Cake?
It is. That's an accomplishment. That is a huge accomplishment.
And to push through the societal norms and attitudes at that time that would suggest that the woman has her place, right? Like
Right.
you could be risque and you could be sexy if you were performing and selling tourism, right? You providing that service. But that was not the role of the ordinary or average woman. And surely not to rush onto Bay Street either. And I wonder if that's why we don't celebrate Miss Maureen Duvalier the way that we're supposed to. Because, there's a cognitive dissonance. We are taught to believe that women are not supposed to behave like that at all. But it is the women that behave like that that drove us through majority rule, to majority rule, from enslavement and colonialization, from majority rule to independence, and from independence to now. And those are the women that we are going to depend on to drive us into the future. And we have to figure out why we feel the ways that we do about them.
I agree.
Go on.
No, I say I agree with you. I agree with you completely. And another thing too is, like you said, finding the information about her was kind of difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah, very difficult. In fact,
Yeah,
it's a 6-line bio, and it says married to Duvalier ? In basically every bio you find.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just another quick part of her bio, and then we're gonna move into that next song. Producer. It says here, Maureen is the first cousin of late Haitian President Francois Papa Doc Duvalier. She was born in Nassau at Burial Ground Corner on East Street, she discloses. And she discloses, quotation, my father's mother was born at Inagua. 2 boys and a girl were also born at Inagua. The other 4 children were born in Haiti. I have an aunt who's 93 and still living in Haiti. I am an only child. So every bio that I've found is indicated that she is either the first cousin of or very closely related to Papa Doc, Francois Duvalier. And maybe that's another reason why we really don't herald her as much as we should do, because of that sort of socio-political space that we refuse to interrogate thoroughly. Maybe that's it. Producer, let's get to this caller on the line and then get that track ready. Johnny Cake, we're getting ready to play that song. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Hey, good morning, Erin. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
I am blessed, man. Erin, I don't mean to shift your talk show, but I just want to say something. Just engage me for just a minute or less.
No, I got less than a minute.
I need to let BPL know something, please. The people through Knights Court, which is off Carmichael Road, they're respectable residents. Crime Watch, very nice area, and that's in Tall Pines. Please, I call in all kind of people. I call in BPL, and y'all refuse to come and fix that light by the park. That's a light. See, Miss Greene, we as Bahamians, sometimes we wait until things happen. Then we come with this apology, or we gonna fix this, or we gonna implement this. I'm asking you all to BPL. Please go and fix that light through Knights Court. Please. The residents are asking me.
Thank you.
Because I have a responsibility to there with something.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. Dear BPL, please pay attention to that. I know time has changed, but don't let that be a factor. Let's get on that so young people could enjoy the spaces that they do have available to them. Producer, play that song. Johnny Cake, tell us what this song is. Is this your newest single?
This is my newest single. It's on the Stick and Move rhythm.
Okay.
It's the biggest single I feel as though I've brought out so far. It might be bigger than Flickin' Road. Do you want me to say the name of it?
Yes, introduce it for us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the brand new single by Johnny Cake called I Like Grind. Listen out for it and listen to the words.
Absolutely. So producer, play that, and then we're going to continue interrogating this song. But you bold enough to have this song.
Wake up in the morning, grind. In the morning, I grind. Even in the evening, I grind. In the evening, I grind. When the night time come, I like grind. Oh, I like grind. All day, anytime. I like grind.
Okay, now, the first thing I can say is, what you mean, sir? What you mean?
Let me be straight up. I can give you the straight answer.
Yeah.
I get up every day and I hustle and I grind on this road. I work very hard.
You disappeared. I heard you saying I work very hard. So,
when I say I like to grind, I like to work hard.
Absolutely.
That's as simple as that. Grinding, on the grind every day. That's what that means.
Now, I know what that means. And every generation has its slang. What age groups, what age ranges you think are really inculcated, in that? They understand that. Now, I know Family Island people understand that. I done meet about 10 by them from the Family Island. They get up and build half a house. Right? They come from Andres, where y'all is grow man like pine tree. There's a culture, or there was a culture here of men and women that not just understood the value of work, but appreciated hard work and its effect on the body, right? That how hard work made them feel, how it made them feel stronger. It helps strengthen their bodies. And I want to say I appreciate the critique of the song. Looking at the loss of drive or ambition in our young people and not so young people, it's like the hard work wins culture has been replaced by the hit a lick culture. And I have a friend who was very successful. He was very successful in his career now, and it all started because one day we was all chilling out and he got a call, "Can you come to work with me?" And he turned and looked at us and say, "Hold the phone." And it started there, and he still hasn't stopped growing his business, his professional self and his personal self. And I wonder if young men and women who walk around in socks and slippers all day understand how many opportunities to work and make money they miss out on a daily basis.
And there are a lot. There are a lot.
Absolutely. Producer, let's go back into the song at the cue. Don't worry, I ain't finished playing your song yet. Let's get back into it, producer.
All day, anytime. I like grind. I ain't talking about flexing. I talking about hard work. I can give you some lessons. I like grind. I was born with a blessing. But I ain't no fool. Some jobs I use protection. I like grind. Ain't talking affection. I talking about making money all day long with no resting. I like grind. That's my confession. Asking gal, she tell you that's my profession. Lord, cause I does hold my back and grind.
There you go. Now listen, I appreciate the critique of the song. I also think the song deserves to be on the list of the double entendres, right? This is what you would call a risque song. But you think this is enough to connect with the young people, right? That you got to reach out to the young people in the language that they speak. Were you attempting to do that with this song? Or were you just making a cat? I mean, because the song is a fun song. It's catchy. I want to dance to it all right away.
When I make music, I always make it so that afterwards there's a discussion about it. And when I made Flicking Road and how people were on the fence with, oh, is that a bad word? Is that a good word? The Bahamas, we have a lot of talks and sayings that are just here in this country, right? That we use. When it comes to I Like Grind, when I made that with the intent to say, Okay, now I know what Bahamians think that saying is, but around the world and internationally, most people that you speak to when you say something like that and have a conversation, they say, yeah, man, I like to grind. Oh, yeah, you like to work hard? Yeah, that's exactly what that is. But when I made that song, I said, all right, I'm going to play with the minds of people. I want to see how deep they would actually think into the song and if they actually listen to the words of the song. Because in the part you played just now, I explained myself exactly what I'm talking about. So I left it in the air for discussion for whatever you think about it.
Absolutely. I am, and so I'm going to come to you and ask you this question. Can the artist be both role model and provocateur at the same time? Because I find the song provocative, and it caused me to think. It caused me as a young woman becoming an old woman to interrogate myself and look here. Are you being too prude? Are you being too politically correct, especially now that I have to moderate myself in this public platform, right? When I listen to this song in the car, interrogate myself and my connection with, with audience and how I moderate and censor things. But can the artist be both role model and provocateur at the same time? It's a question I have to ask myself all the time.
Well, I would think so. Like I always say this. When I make music, I put it in the category of who I'm making music for, why I'm making the music, and how I'm making the music. Me, I write my own music. I write every lyric, and I write in the lyric in the rake and scrape genre. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, as a role model outside of music and what I do a lot of positive things that you can actually see. When you listen to the music is for you to dance, is for you to move. It might not be for ages 6 to 12, but it could be from 16 to 40. So It all depends on how you take it and how you look at me as a person and as an artist inside and outside of the music. So yes, to you, the song may be provocative, but when you think about it, is it really? I'm only talking about working hard. That's what I'm actually pushing in the song. So that's why I said I left it for your mind to figure out what am I thinking? Why am I thinking this when this man actually says what he's talking about? So I feel as though I could still be a role model and make that kind of music.
Absolutely. So I am fascinated by the people who's let their children listen to Kids Bop.
Oh.
For those who aren't familiar, Kids Bop is like a program where they take the popular music and they let children sing it, and they make the language age appropriate. They change some of the stuff. But they'll take a song that you have to bleep out on the radio, right? Like they've taken one of the most well-known adult and sexually explicit songs played on public airwaves and turned it into a Kids Bop song, right? And so I wonder how you feel about that. I want to ask you that in particular. Well, I wanted to ask that in this conversation, necessarily you in particular. How you feel about that, this idea that you just take the song, that the original song may have profanity in it or sexually explicit content, and then turn it into a kid's song by changing a couple of words and having the kids sing it.
I mean, here's my thing.
Yeah.
I've been to churches and they have taken certain songs that are what we would call secular music and turn it into Christian music, honestly, right?
Right.
So I would say, like you say, they change the lyrics and they make it more appropriate for kids. Mind you, if you watch your kids and you let your kids know, hey, certain music isn't for you, that's fine. But at the end of the day, even though you bleeping out this song on the radio, children are still listening to the song, aren't they? They're still listening and understanding what is the content of the song. So when Kids Bop take that and say, okay, here's what's going to have to happen. We know that these kids are still going to listen to this. So we're going to make a good business move. We're going to take this music, change up the lyrics, make it age appropriate, and let the children sing it. I think it's more basically on a business move, something like that. But the fact that they change the lyrics and they dumb it down for the kids, I kind of see nothing wrong with that. I rather them sing a watered down version to the song, and then instead of trying to bleep out the F word every time they sing the song. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, I got you. So now I got another question. Why y'all Bahamian artists don't make song for children? After Dr. Ahmed get involved in Junkanoo, ain't no more music for children except for Phil Stubbs. Phil Stubbs is the children's selector. Why y'all, boy, them who be making this good music, don't make some good music like this, but I feel more comfortable with my children bopping too, man.
Okay, because here's why. At the end of the day, it's audience. Me, I would personally make a song. I actually was just speaking about this the other day, saying I need to make some music that my daughters could really sit down and bump to and listen from their daddy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it also goes with, okay, when we're making music, a lot of times we're making music, festival music. That's what I call it a lot of times. Rake and Scrape is the national dance music. And most of the time when you dance in this music, you're dancing at a regatta, you're dancing at a homecoming. Most of the time it involves alcohol, most of the times it involves shaking up and gyrating. And that is the energy that certain vibe gives. Now, you would actually have to sit down as an artist and say, okay, I'm just going to make a song for children. I'm going to make up a story and do that. And I would say like that has to really be a part of, that has to be a project for you to sit down and say, that's what I want to do. Because most of the time, when we're performing the songs, we're performing it for adults. We're making it for adults. We want it for adults because that's who's going to be at the clubs. That's who really is going to be at the front of the stage, drinking up and having a good time. You understand what I'm saying? I feel as though, because you actually brought this up, me, I will take it in my personal interest to make a song like that, and I will air it first here, just for you, just for asking me that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just think like the children need something too, man. The children
I agree with you.
They need to have access to the rake and scrape. I'm not saying that we need to train them up and beat rake and scrape into them, and they're not allowed to enjoy any other forms of music. I think that what you do is you let them have access to as many forms and as much music as possible, and then you emphasize what you think is most important for them, still allowing them a scope of things to engage, I
agree.
So I'm a children's advocate for that. And I think for Bahamian artists that they will see a greater cultural, a greater appreciation for Bahamian music and culture if we start touring with Bahamian music, right? And that's why a boy like Phil Stubbs has his place, because he makes songs that the E.P. Roberts Children's Choir could reproduce, right? Right. And he's capturing young people at that age. I'm an adult, and I can tell you, don't ever stop doing what you're doing. That's not your job to moderate yourself in that way. It's the job of parents, right? It's the job of cultural stakeholders. It's the job of those who moderate the public airwaves to help parents understand what they should allow their children to listen to with and without them,
I agree.
So, I got a text here that says, great show as usual. Wrong text. Good show. I want a song with the minutes lockdowns with the former PM live voice. Now, Johnny Cake, I was text.
Me, not me.
Because
no, you can see my number. You got my number.
Yeah. No, you good. You actually, in your repertoire, you actually have a number of songs talking about the referendum and reflecting how Bahamians felt and still feel.
Oh, yes, I do.
There's, what's the one called where you just want to drink?
That's actually what it's called. I need something to drink.
Right.
That's one.
It's a love song cover.
There's a love song cover to the Usher Let It Burn.
Right.
There's also Flicking Road.
Yeah.
The biggest one.
And then you got an adult one called Lockdown, something that you can't play on the radio. And that's okay.
Lockdown, yeah, that's a cover as well.
Right. Not everything needs to be played on the radio, because there is some music and there's some expression that needs to remain raw and explicit to authentically capture that sentiment or that experience in society. And then it's up, they're responsible adults to moderate as much as possible the spaces we're in so we don't expose young people to the music ahead of time.
That is true. That is correct. And I agree, because I feel as though being censored really, really dulls down who you are as a creative. Sometimes when we make this music, it just comes out. You just say what you want to say. Yeah, we might could go back and try and make a radio edit and all of this and what's not for the radio. But at the end of the day, that's why there are digital platforms and websites where we upload our music to as well, so that you can hear what we were feeling at that time and moment, or if we are portraying somebody else's life through music. You need to hear that and understand it, because some people need to hear the raw truth of certain things.
Absolutely. And if people were tuning in, they wouldn't be so shocked and surprised about what they're reading in the newspaper, the responses they get from the general public in public consultation forums or man on the street interviews. They would have better sense of spatial awareness and understand what's happening and why people respond to them the way they do. So listen, we are at the end of our hour, Johnny Cake, and I want to play a song, and so I give my producer some instructions. I want to play Muriel's Treasure and then go out with Johnny Cake's song. And just as we get going, I have to give you some of the names and the songs that are on the list for the king or queen of the double entendre. So on the list, I got KB Bush Mechanic, KB Biggest Box in the World, and about 7,500 other KB songs. Big On featuring O2 Juicin', T-Rez, Mr. Bus Driver, Shine, I Like Grind, and can you, Johnny Cake, my bad, and can you play, well, look here, Tide of Corona. You had another song about the pandemic.
Just make him and put him out. I can't even remember all sometimes.
Man, you and Solomon, y'all are musicians of the people. Anyway, I am so sorry, Johnny Cake. I'm all out of time. Let's let the people enjoy this last track by Calypso Mama, Muriel's Treasure. And I need y'all to know that I don't own the copyright to none of this music. And this is an educational exercise to ensure that the Bahamian people understand who they are and know where they come from.
Into Muriel's treasure. That bug was really clever to find that area. Muriel said, I can't believe this little bug had me deceived. Men have tried secretly, but never touched my treasury. It was a bad bug that found himself into Muriel's treasure.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Johnny Cake, thank you so much. You still there?
I really appreciate it.
No, man, I appreciate you sharing your song with us and letting me use it as an opportunity for us to interrogate who we are and better understand how we got to where we are individually and as a collective.
Right. I totally appreciate it. I'm going to keep making it because it's shows like this that keeps me encouraged to make this music. It really keeps me encouraged and keeps me inspired to push and continue. And I always get an idea like the one you just gave me about making a song for the kids. You know, that like I thought about it the other day, but now it's just confirms. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna have to add that to my catalog because I really want to have rake and scrape inside them from young. And I feel as though that's actually a part of my job to do that now.
And listen, as you go, I need to keep you making rake and scrape because the people wouldn't believe that you are a super duper rap artist. You know, as an old lady, but you off the chain, boss. Anyway, I gotta go. Thank you, producer. Thank you, Johnny Cake. Thank you, Bahamas. I hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Guardian Radio AM is up next.